Greetings everyone and welcome to episode 3 of Full Send Racing on Motorsport Manager. I am in a really good mood right now. I've just watched the F1 Spanish Grand Prix Catalonia and it was pretty damn good. Max Verstappen getting into second place ahead of Bottas. That always makes me somewhat excited because Mercedes, I think we all know what everyone thinks about Mercedes. They need to slow down somehow because they make things at the top very, very dull. So really, it tends to be the battle for third place. But the race was pretty fantastic from what I saw. I only caught the second half of it, but we had some excellent strategy. I mean, Ferrari, for possibly the first time in a long time, actually got something right with Sebastian Vettel. He managed to one-stop and get that pair of softs that he had through 30-odd laps. Absolutely fantastic stuff. And he still got into the points. Racing point, again, brilliant. And, well, Max Verstappen, I've got endless praise for the guy. He makes F1 fun again. And that's my opinion on him. He's a future world champion. Enough about the F1. On to the not F1 with Full Send Racing. And I'm just gonna hit continue because I am excited today because we are at Italy at the Milan GP at fake Monza. And I'm excited about this because it's a track that I actually enjoy racing around on this game, because despite the fact that I've never owned a team with a good engine, we don't do too badly. And with Andre having these upgraded brakes, and with Milan being a track where brakes are crucial, we might just get something done. Now, I said Andre has got the brakes after the last race, which if any of you missed, my risky strategy for Faith really messed her up. She came dead last by a country mile, and I just want you all to know that everything between me and Faith is okay. We've apologised, hugged, made up, but I did promise her that I would give her the upgraded parts for the Italy GP as some sort of an apology. So Faith will get the better parts. We will give her the chance to shine, which I think she deserves. And fingers crossed, we will get some more points and get ourselves off of the back of the grid. Quickly talk you through the pit crew again. Everybody looks okay apart from Aoi Young, who is a little low on stamina, but unfortunately I've not really got anybody who's decent with tyres which is worth switching for. He's only lost 20 stamina, so I think I will let him keep his place for at least one more race. That's the best I feel like we could do. So pit crew remains the same, and despite the mistake with Andre's car, I still trust him to get us through this next Grand Prix. One of the important things when it comes to racing is obviously to make sure your drivers have got the best car beneath them that you can possibly provide them with, and frankly, we aren't doing that right now, nor do we have the facilities to provide them with a good car. Now, considering this season we're predicted, and our target from Kurt, the chairman of the team, is to come dead stone last, so there's no real pressure to put a huge chunk of our team budget into the car. So my plan is to think ahead, think into the future, use my psychic team and management skills, and invest into next season, possibly even the third season, before we make a genuine push with the car to try and break into that midfield bracket. Now, what I thought I would do for this is to build a brand new factory. 2 reasons: because we get things like the test track, brakes R&D, and the telemetry center, but it means when it comes to improving our parts in the factory, improving reliability, we get 10 more staff, so we double the speed, which for us will be absolutely fantastic, because we need to be able to build parts that very, very quickly. Perhaps not so much this season, but definitely next season and season 3. So I have thought long and hard about this. Some of us even spent thinking in the bathroom, which you might think is a bit strange, but for some strange reason, that's where I think the best, and I think the clearest. If anybody else understands that and has also got this like strange Zen temple-like place that they can enter within their brains to think better, tell me where it is. Because frankly, the bathroom isn't the most efficient place to be thinking about Motorsports Manager. In fact, I'm sure if you look at it in specific ways, it might actually be slightly offensive. So, £8 million will be spent on upgrading new brakes time. And again, I know I have gone with the brakes again, but it's literally just because brakes are the cheapest part that we can produce, and we're not looking to spend every last penny we've got on brand new parts. I was debating having a better engine, because frankly everyone likes to go as fast as they can in a straight, but a brand new engine would cost 3 times what a brand new pair of brakes would. And as I said in episode 1 or episode 2, I can't quite recall, feel free to correct me, but I think it was episode 2, brakes are the cheapest we can go for, along with suspension. So they will be the 2 parts which we look to actually improve this season. And if I find we've got a bit of extra cash in the bank, I might upgrade into one engine, and then just switch them between the 2 drivers based on form, based on results, and just play things as they come. But for now, we've gone for brand new brakes, and the fantastic thing is, Vistili here, our brand new lead designer, has got his own trait where we get an additional slot where essentially we can actually fit on 3 upgrades to the car instead of just 1. Now, I've not picked the 3rd one, because I'm debating whether to pick tyre wear, max deceleration, which will be something we can improve into, or if we should just go for a base 10 and 10% reliability, just to make sure we can possibly run these brakes at the next race. But we are a strategy-based team, so my thinking is we go for the tyre wear just to try and run those longer stints every now and again. So that is our 3rd upgrade. It's quite a cheap upgrade thanks to Vistili's free skill, and it means that our brakes are actually going to be a lot better straight out of the factory than what the last brakes were. And again, straight away, that will go on to Faith's car after our long, heartfelt conversation after the disastrous German Grand Prix. So, well, fingers crossed, that will cheer Faith up a bit, push her up that grid, and bring back some nice points for full send. Because we all know we need points, because we are struggling. Good news! And our brakes. I don't know why I clapped. I'm very excitable. Brakes. Our brakes have finally been built with 10 days until the next race. But that's not the most exciting news that we've had as I've skipped through the days. As soon there will be a vote between the teams to actually add Phoenix over in the United States to the ERS calendar, which the last time I checked, the United States isn't in Europe. But, and this is a big but, this track might just favour our racing team. Well, that's what the email says, and Vasily, our brand new designer, is all for this brand new track, and frankly, with him being the most experienced person at the team, I think I might actually vote for this, because I think Vasily knows what he's on about, which is good because we clearly haven't got a clue. With new brakes comes brand new reliability problems, which means we're going to have to really push our staff to get these brakes up to tip-top condition so they don't just fall off the car halfway through the Grand Prix, because I promise Faith the best parts we've got, and I don't want these parts to then just go flying past her own car at about 115 miles an hour, because that won't look good for us, and it might upset Faith just a little bit more, and frankly we're not in a good books as it is. So in an attempt to get this reliability up to the best we can, all 10 staff we've got will be focusing on fixing up these brand new brakes. Oh boy, it is vote day. And the vote is to replace Guildford GP, which is the knockoff Aldi version of Silverstone, which I've never done well at, with Phoenix Grand Prix for next season, which is a track I've never even been to yet, because I've always raced in the ERS. So it would be interesting to replace a track that I'm not good at with a track which might or might not favour us. The way I see this is that we haven't got anything to actually lose, so we might as well vote for this, and fingers crossed it might just pay off for us next season. Garuda is for. Firebird against. Eastwood is for this. Vexella is against. Archer, our rivals, are for. Octane are against. So it's very, very close. ZRT don't want anything to do with this. The same with the Chinese team. And we are actually the team that tips the scales in favour of this brand new Grand Prix next season. So we are off to the United States. Just before we go, obviously, we have to pick which sponsor comes to us to this next Grand Prix. And of course, there's only ever one option, and it's good old RushJet. And fingers crossed again, they won't crash the plane into the sea before we make it there, because frankly, I would like to race. Now, just before we do go again, I've not switched the parts over yet, and I almost forgot to. So, Faith, you get these brand new shiny brakes, and Andre, you get to keep your brakes. And everything else I have put in Faith's advantage ever so slightly. The parts we've got aren't great, so there's not much of an advantage to actually be had. But Faith, I assure you, as promised, you've got the better car. Welcome, ladies and gents, to fake Monza, off-brand Monza, as we are now in Italy at the Milan Grand Prix. A track which I personally enjoy, and I am hopeful for that we can actually get some good points. Faith has got the better car, as pre-mentioned. Andre has essentially got the same car which we gave him in Germany with just a few downgrades. So I'm excited and I'm hopeful that we can get some points and get ourselves off of the bottom of the Constructors' Championship. End of practice now, guys, and it's surprisingly looking good for us, despite the absence of Andre Faith with his brand new upgrades up in 10th on a medium. And frankly, we're not miles off of the pace of some of these midfield teams, which I thought we wouldn't even get close to. And Domingo, once again, proving that he's not a slow driver. At some point in this season, if somebody does slip up at any point, I might just give him a race. What would you guys think? To me, giving Domingo a chance to prove himself at a future Grand Prix, because it could be interesting or it might be a complete disaster. I will leave that up to you guys down in the comment section. Wish us luck, and again, predict where you think both Faith and Andre will come in this race, and I will see you in a second. Lights are out and away we go. I will say this for every race now. Gomes with a good start. Faith jumping up to first. Let's give her a chance to push that car and try and break away from Melo in the second place. And fingers crossed Andre can make up a few spots. But he is being chased down by the pack as he drops down to 6th place. I will come back with updates as they come, as Faith unfortunately falls victim to that silver racing car, which frankly doesn't belong this far down the championship, but he has had issues in the past couple of races. Andre has just been absolutely swamped. He's down to 16th, which is to be expected with a reverse grid, and I will come back with updates as they come. Start of lap 4 now, and Faith has dropped down to 14th place, make it 15th, possibly even 16th if Tang can squeeze past 2. The race hasn't had the best of starts, but this is to be expected with the reverse grid start to each race. So fingers crossed as the grid starts to get organised into what would be expected. Fingers crossed both Andre and Faith can pick up some spots. End of lap 7 now, start of lap 8, and Andre is into the pits for his first stop, just for fuel this time, as we are double stinting these mediums up to about lap 14. He has made everything last, and he's actually jumped a spot in the pits. Dreyfus, who has gone on to the softs, she's just coming out the pit. She's had an absolute disaster, which promotes us and Andre up into 19th place. Looking good so far. And Faith, with a few cars beginning to pit, is up into 3rd. Now, we've got to hope that she's got enough fuel on a low engine to get round to the pits now, as explaining what has happened with Gomes made me forget about Faith, and again we've screwed her over completely by accident. I hope she can make it round the track. It is her time to pit. 13 laps. I think we will run the mediums, and we will once again put her close on fuel just to make sure she's got the best chance on track. Coming into the pits now, Faith for her first stop. She's just made the pits with 0.02 fuel left in the tank. Very, very close. She's briefly up into 1st place, but she will obviously drop as cars who have already stopped come back past. She has made the pit stop, no mistakes. 10th best pit stop on the track, and that puts her into 15th place, which I believe she was in 16th before, so that's once again a net improvement of 1 position. I can put her back into a normal engine mode now, and fingers crossed this will let her to push on and finish the end of this Grand Prix on this one set of tires, as she does drop down into 16th place. halfway through lap 12 now, and we are, apart from the exception of Rogers, dead stone last. Andre 19th, Faith up into 18th, but she's now on the faster pitch strategy, as she's not got to change for a third set of tyres for this race, where the cars in front look as if they do. She has dropped off the back of them a little bit. She was right on them, but this is all time we should make up as tyres begin to fade, and as we have got the faster pitch strategy, we should overtake some of these cars when we're next in the pits. A little bit further on into lap 14, as Andre comes into the pit, we've got a couple of cars having to come in for repairs, which might work in our favour. It might let us jump a few cars within this pit section. Andre's still down in 19th place, obviously, but he's now onto the faster soft compound. Faith into the pits now in 13th place. She's only stopping for fuel. No fresh tyres, unlike the cars around her, which means she will have a blisteringly fast stop compared. And with 51% left on these tyres, with only a handful of laps, she can really push and really try to bring this car home in a good spot. Andre now up to 18th, ahead of Dembele, who we have overtook. So it looks like these slightly faster stops and double stint in these mediums for both of our cars is paying off. There are cars in the pits now as Faith comes down the home straight. El Sadat has had to come in for repairs too, so that is one more place. Make it 2. Make it 3 as Faith barges past Chu for that 14th position. Can she bring this back home for full send? 2 laps left to go now, and a problem with the brakes for Faith has just got worse as the condition of them has jumped down to 15%. Fingers crossed they can hold together and not fall off the car, because Faith is in a good spot. She's above the sponsor objective, which will give us that little bit of extra cash for the rest of the season. And she has done extremely well as she comes now onto the final lap. Hopefully the brakes hold out. I will stay with Faith for this final lap, as she's actually got a couple seconds ahead of 16th place, but he is closing in quick as she is on worn tyres now, and as she is struggling with the brakes, which is the best component on the car, so it's a real shame. But can she hold Rogers off for just a few more turns? She's got enough fuel to get home now. Hopefully the brakes will stay on the car. Hopefully the tyres will serve her okay as she comes around onto the pit straight. Rogers with the faster engine as the fuel runs dry, and unfortunately Gomes not quite overtaking her, but 16th and 17th place will do us there. Gomes being an absolute champ and pushing Faith over the start finish, as again she runs out of fuel. I should have kept a better eye on that, but 16th and 17th place means we reach our sponsor objective. We get that extra bit of cash, and it means that we get a handful of points, and we've finished above the boys at the ZRT team, who are definitely some of our rivals this season. So here are the final standings. Faith up into 16th place, earning herself 5 points, and Andre in 17th place, earning himself 4 points. That's an overall haul of 9 points for the team. And ZRT having an absolute shocker, only bringing back 5 points. Let's see where that puts our guys overall in the standings. Andre unfortunately drops down to 17th place, only 2 points off of the driver in front, and Faith remains ahead of Dembele for ZRT in 19th place. On to the constructors, and we are still dead last, but now only by two points after we outperformed ZRT and one of the Archer drivers in this Italian Grand Prix. Not a bad result at all. Fingers crossed we can overtake this ZRT team very, very soon in the upcoming Grand Prix. But that is all from not Monza, the Milan Grand Prix in Italy. A pretty decent race overall. What do you guys think? How do you think we did, and what could we have done better? But that is all from me and the team Full Send. We shall bid you farewell, and we will see you next time.